This is your place for all things automotive, the award-winning InWheelTime Car Talk Show. Today coming to you from the Spring Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy. Just ahead, we are going to get you involved in some racing through the wares of Mr. Judd Holt, who is fresh back and ready to go out again to ply his trade at road courses across America and be successful like he was in Long Beach with his BMW 4 Series?
Yeah, it's a M4 GT4.
M4 GT4. Well, you're going to explain all that to us.
A lot of acronyms.
Later, Jeff has got the racing calendar. Mars has This Week in Auto History. And I'll get you caught up on the stories making automotive news headlines. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World, Mars. We always need more Jeff Zekin, Chief Engineer, and Bottle Washer, David Ainsley. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us today. Judd Holt, it's good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you guys, too.
And, congratulations on Long Beach. Of all places, I'm going, oh, my God, he won Long Beach. Now, okay, so let's talk about the car so we can get this all set up. It is is it a new model?
Yeah, it's a fully amalgamated factory-built race car. They build them in Germany.
Hell, I didn't even know that they did that.
Yeah, the entire class, the GT4 class, is all factory-built spec race cars.
So you run cars just like yours in this particular division of an event.
Exactly. Yeah, and then the BMW has a car, the Mustang, the Ford has a car, Mercedes has a car.
Okay.
So there are a multitude of manufacturers.
Okay.
We just run the BMW. Yeah, and so they take and.
Should I say I'm sorry or
No,
congratulations?
Yeah.
Is it a straight six?
It's a turbo 6.
It's a turbo 6.
It's a 6. It's a turbocharged 6. Yeah. Yep. 550 horsepower. Very, very torquey car.
Automatic? Paddle shifters?
Paddle shift. Yeah.
Yep.
Paddle shift. Yeah.
And
8 speed. We use 6.
And everybody that drives a BMW in that class, the car is basically the same.
They're identical.
They're identical.
The spec is
you can't
identical.
jack with it.
You cannot change either. I mean, they're down to there is
Lug
nothing.
nuts.
Like you can't adjust the way the door panels fit on the car. They're
Can
that
you-
specific.
Can you adjust the toe in, the camber?
Yes, you can adjust suspension setup on the car
For driver comfort.
For just track to track. They're obviously making camber and toe and all the suspension adjustments. You can do shock adjustments, so it's a 3-way adjustable shock.
But you got to use the same shock as all of the other drivers in
yes,
the BMW?
the shock is spec'd for each car. The shock you have to run, yes.
So what it gets down to, when you go someplace like Long Beach and you win, it's driver against driver because all the cars are the same.
That's
so
the
to
goal.
me, that's a bigger deal than because the car if you got a better car, that can make a difference. But if they're all spec, they're all the same, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's definitely the goal of SRO and GT America is to get the cars the same. And they have each car has a BOP that says this is the horsepower setting you have to run the car on, this is the torque setting you have to run the car on, and this is the weight that has to be on the car.
So you have to go
and
through
it changes
tech.
race to race. Oh yeah, heavily teched car. Yeah, they go through it with a fine-tooth comb before the race, and then it parked for me after the race. Drivers get out of the car and they keep the car for an hour to hook the computers up and verify that everything was exactly how it was supposed to be.
Fuel
Fuel capacity is another thing that is set as to how much fuel you can run.
You have to use the same fuel as everybody else?
Yes, everybody uses the same fuel. We all run VP. Is the required fuel for the race. Yeah, and they're also the race sponsor. Everybody has to run the same Pirelli Zero tire.
Oh boy.
So yeah, we're all yeah.
So where did you hone these skills?
So I began about 4.5 years ago. I woke up one morning during COVID and said, I don't want to sit around the house anymore. And so I went out to MSR Houston and drove a spec car. A buddy of mine loaned me allowed me to sit in his car, and I was immediately oh, I got to do this. And so I bought a spec car, and we raced those for 2.5, 3 years. I still race it. I still have a spec car. It's a lot of fun. Very, very, very competitive. Some of the best drivers I drive around are in the spec class still. Anyway, after a couple of 3 years of doing that, we graduated to an M2 and started running WRL, which is enduro racing, in an M2. And then about a year ago, a little over a year ago, the new M4 G82 came out, and I was fortunate enough to be.
You said, I want one of those.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, it kind of came to find me, and they said, hey, would you be interested in moving up to the next level? And I said, sure, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Faster's always better.
Faster's always better, and just the platform. Nothing against the M2, but I mean it's a legit real race car based on the street car. So really, awesome. Like I got in it for the first time. I'll be honest, it was a little intimidating when you first sit behind the seat of sit in the driver's seat of that. You go, wow, this is a lot of car.
Fast car.
This is a lot of car. We took it out at Eagles Canyon in north of Dallas, Fort Worth. Beautiful racetrack up there that Livio runs. And we practiced and we got ready to go racing. And then we were fortunate. There was an SCCA event shortly after we got the car kind of dialed in, and we got to run that and get to do a little wheel-to-wheel racing in the car itself. And then we took it on tour in WRL last year. We ran it at Sebring, we ran it at Watkins Glen, and then we ran it at Coda, kind of the back half of the season, just to get,
Well, experience under the belt.
Yeah, some experience under the belt. And then we began this year's WRL season in the car, and we started in Sebring, which is where the series starts, and we put it on the podium one day in second place, and then we went to Eagles Canyon, and we put it on the podium there, and so and then it was time to start running SRO GT4.
So what does it feel like to stand on the podium?
Oh, it's an amazing feeling.
You shake the champagne.
Yeah, you shake the
spray
champagne.
everybody with it.
Yeah, it's a really
Because I mean,
really cool
I'm
feeling.
just envisioning this in my mind, going, okay, I got a car, and the cars are pretty much equal, but it really to win the race, it's on me.
Yeah.
And then to win it, or even podium the car, if you want to call it that, it's got to be a great feeling that you probably have never had before, have you?
I've been on the podium in the spec car a couple of times, but
what I'm saying is
there's no substitute to be having somebody hand you a bottle of champagne and put a Pirelli hat on your head and go,
Yeah.
Go,
I mean, I'm just trying to envision that. You know,
it's an exhilarating experience, and it's why people race cars.
Yeah.
It's to get that opportunity.
Because today you are the best.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
literally that's what it is.
In that moment, and then it's immediately like, okay, can you back it up?
Yes. Yeah, we know about that.
And being on the podium two races in a row was, my co-driver Dave Ogburn at Sonoma. And there's two formats for GT4. I can get into that in a minute, but sometimes I have a co-driver and sometimes I've driven solo. To be on the podium at Sonoma was like mind-blowing, and then to get on it both days in Long Beach was like, wow, this is like living the dream.
I can only I'm just envisioning it and trying to live my life through you at the moment and going, wow, that is just really cool.
It's hard to imagine.
Yeah,
You see it on TV and oh yeah, that's cool, but to be there.
So you've got the whole rig that carries the car around. Do you have a backup car?
So we run with Fast Track Racing, which is their group out of Eagles Canyon that runs BMWs, and they fully support the car for me. So we basically contract with them, and this is pretty common. There's several groups out there that run where you can just put your car with them and they handle the maintenance and all,
they do that.
all,
It's
all
a
the work.
turnkey
They
thing.
get you to the track.
They haul the car.
And
they
I
set
bet
the
it's
car
a
up.
hell of a lot cheaper doing it that way than having your own team that you towed around.
Yeah, and less worry too.
I don't know if it's cheaper, but I wouldn't do it any other way because it's certainly more time consuming to run.
Particularly as a driver. I mean,
There
you don't want to be worried
are
about
plenty
all
of groups
that.
that do that though, that run their own car, or run several cars in different classes in their with common drivers. So it's not uncommon to run your own car.
Kind of like drag racing, people running stock and super stock and
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of teams that have a GT3 car and a GT4 car.
Did you ever envision yourself doing road racing?
Well, I always wanted to do it. I mean, it was always something in the back of my mind. I'm like, man, if I ever got the time and the money to make it happen, I would love to do it. But I was talking to one of my co-drivers in WRL and before we went to Long Beach, and I said, I said if somebody had told me 4 years ago you're going to be going to Long Beach to run GT4, I would have laughed nervously. I would have been like, yeah, right, whatever. But no, it was. I didn't envision it going as far as it has, as quickly as it has. But it's been a great ride. It really has.
Who would you say was your mentor in this, in the driving aspect of a road race?
Well, Denny Stripling, who is a Spec Racer Ford guy that is very well known, very accomplished driver in Spec Racer Ford, and has done other things. Yeah, he was definitely my mentor, and definitely kind of the one that kept pushing me to let's keep going. And
did you ever do a ride along with him?
No, I never did a ride along with him, but we've done a lot of coaching. We've done a lot of lead follow. A lot of track video.
And when you do the lead follow thing, are you on a headset with him?
Yes, yeah. So you can coordinate the radios, and so you can communicate. And sometimes I'll follow you and give you pointers as to where to put the car and so forth. And then a lot of times it's just sitting in a room reviewing data. The data that you can get out of a race car these days is incredible. Depending on the car, the AIM system will allow you to take your video and overlay it with the data, and you can see every marker that you hit. And then in the BMW, we get the Motec system and B-Box, which is...
It tracks you.
And it shows you, and you can do, if you have two cars, it'll line them up next to each other and show you this is where the car was positioned, and this is where that car was positioned, and where the braking...
So is it like a simulator?
No, it's like a replay.
Gotcha.
But we also do the simulator, so we spend a tremendous amount of time on the simulator working together, just to fix little problems. And it's amazing how far the simulators have come. We spend a lot of time on iRacing, practicing and getting ready.
Line in, line out, braking points.
Yeah, and
Apex.
it was, for a track like Long Beach, for example, this is not a track you can go drive, right?
Right.
It's normally a street.
Yes.
And so the only way you can get your mind around, like, okay, what's the cadence of this track,
Yes.
and where is the grip, and where do you put the car, and so forth, is to do it in a simulator. And I'd run other tracks in the simulator, but I don't think I'd ever spend as much time in the sim as I did for Long Beach, getting ready for a race, and it really paid dividends.
Well, not only that, but I mean, you also have to worry about shift points. I mean, there's one way that you listen to it, but if you run over 8,000 RPM, you're going to blow it up. And for me, I know that when I did a Corvette event at Circuit of the Americas, they let us out there like fools, and I'm going, okay, well, I ran that Corvette of mine all the way up there to the red line. I'm going, I really didn't want to go that high with it, but the corner's right there. But only a few more 100 feet, and you're over the red line. So where do you shift it in that particular area of the course? And I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't even imagine what it would be like not ever having actually been on the track and do Long Beach.
Yeah, so the BMW does have a rev limiter, so you cannot over rev the car.
Right.
And you can't downshift, or what they call a money shift, which is where you inadvertently downshift. It will not allow you to until it's within the RPM range, within the tolerances. But there are corners on racetracks, and it varies based on cars and from car to car, where you put it on the limiter simply because there's not time to
shift.
It doesn't pay to shift the car and then downshift the car
immediately. Yes.
Right. And then there's also spots on track where you short shift the car, where you go. It pays to drop into the torque band because of the way the corner is shaped, and you shift a little early, or you don't want to upset the platform.
Got all this stuff going on.
Yeah.
And if you don't do the homework, because when you're out there, everything's going by so fast and happening so fast that it's like, how do you manage all of these things in your periphery, the track, the car, the revs, where you are on the track? All this stuff is going on, lickety split.
Yeah, and so when you first start driving, your vision is very, very tight. And I'm still close enough to it in because my career in driving has been so short that your vision's very tight. It's everything you can do to accommodate the speed, the cornering, and to put the car right. As you race more and more, your subconscious starts to take care of things.
Sure, yeah.
And everybody drives down the freeway at 80 miles an hour, and if you can remember the first time you went 80 miles an hour down the freeway and there's cars left and right of you, as a young driver, you're like,
of course, yes.
And it's a bit like that when you first get on a race course. you're like, man, this is a lot to accommodate.
Yeah.
You almost can't be mentally prepared in the very beginning when you first get on it, and then you get on a racetrack with cars left and right of you, and you start and everybody's trying to get around you, and the aggression comes in. You're like, wow, this is a lot to accommodate.
You ever scrape any fenders?
Oh yeah, I've definitely had some moments where I've done some touching, is what I call it. I'm like, I didn't hit anything. I just touched that.
Well, I've heard that about you. You're pretty good at touching.
Yeah, at Long Beach, we were very clean. There was one corner where I was the GT3. We were on track with the GT3 class at the same time, which is they're about 8 seconds faster a lap than we are. So if you think about it, we're running.
Oh God! Then you've got
running
that to worry about.
We're running Long Beach at about a minute 26, and so they're running at about 10 seconds, 8 to 10 seconds quicker than we are. So they're going to pass us in a 40-minute race twice. And so the GT leaders were coming through, and as I was coming into one of the tightest turns where you go from basically a 7-lane road onto a 2-lane road, and it's the tightest corner.
And you got all these cars coming up behind you.
And it was clear they were going to catch me right as I came in, and so I had to put the car through the apex and try and get out of their way. And when I came out of the corner, I looked over to my left mirror, which you don't need a lot in that track, and I could see me, which is never a good sign, because the mirror had actually it clipped the wall.
Yeah.
Touched the wall.
It had clipped the wall, and it just knocked the mirror back, because it doesn't stock mirrors on it, and it knocked the mirror back. And I was like, well, the windows don't come down on the car. They're solid Lexan windows. I'm like, well, I guess that's just the way, fortunately you don't use the left mirror in that track very often. But I was like, well, I guess I'll just have to deal with it. And this was lap probably 12 out of 26, and so I was like, man, that's a lot of racing to go. In the next braking zone, when I hammered the brakes on the car, the mirror kicked back open.
There you go.
So the inertial effect of braking the car was actually enough to pull the mirror back out to where it goes. So it was only one straightaway. Yeah,
man,
and so,
sweating bullets.
It's a very intense experience. There's no doubt, and most people don't realize like the real intensity of racing is not the getting the car moving, it's the getting the car stopped. Where the real experience, everybody goes, race car driver, that's about going fast. I'm like, yeah, it's about going fast, but it's about getting that fast thing slowed down and around a corner.
Yeah.
With consistency and without with maintaining the grip of the vehicle and keeping the platform connected and maintaining the RPMs. Yeah, so at Long Beach Turn 1, you go from 150 miles an hour to 35 miles an hour at the apex of Turn 1, and you do that in 500 feet. So anybody that's ever been on the ABS in their car in an emergency situation, they go, oh, I know what that feels like. I know what
yes.
You can feel that it's doing everything it can do to get this thing slowed down and stopped. Well, imagine doing that at every corner for 40 minutes.
Is
like
ABS,
every time.
ABS connected on these cars?
Yes, ABS is connected.
Oh,
yeah. So you are on the ABS at every single corner.
Oh my God!
If you're not in the ABS, you didn't drive hard enough. So yeah, we're using the ABS every time. It also has traction control, which we run at some tracks, but at Long Beach we did not. Getting out of the hairpin, we just found that the car wouldn't. The traction control was overly intrusive, and so we found that it was a little quicker to run it with the traction control off and just throttle balance the car to get it out of that corner.
Well, Judd, we're gonna turn the traction control off for you. You're gonna what? Was it one of kind of those responses?
No. It was actually you have to do it to yourself. So there's the steering wheel on the car has two knobs. One knob allows you to change the brake, the throttle sensitivity, and the other one allows you to adjust the traction control map
that's
on the
not
car.
on a. That's not
while you're going around the track.
While you're going around the track, yeah.
So this car is set up for this.
So he's going around the track
it's designed.
like this.
There's two. It's a butterfly wheel,
Yep.
and then there's two knobs where your thumbs can reach up there, and you just click it this way, and it'll change you from a wet pedal to dry pedal to a linear pedal on the right side, and then the left side will allow.
How do you learn that?
You just, again, as you race,
4.5 years.
More and more of the processing goes into your subconscious, and you have time to do the other things.
Yeah.
And the car actually has a button where you can just turn the traction control off for a corner. You just push the button down, and it does a 10 count, and you can just shut off. So if you have a corner where you go, I don't want the traction control on for this one corner, you can just kill it for that corner.
Those BMW guys, they just think of everything, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
To me, that goes back to your earlier statement about working with this other company to make sure your car gets maintained and gets it out. Because you don't want to be going into that curve trying to figure out, well, do I need to hit the braking deal? Wait a minute. Did I change the oil in the car the last time?
When was the last time this thing had brakes?
Yeah, I know. You don't want to be doing that. So
definitely don't want to be worried about the car. And these guys are great. I mean, they understand this is what they do full time. And in Fast Track, they're meticulous. And we also, we have a car engineer that works just for us. That is in charge of setting up the suspension and how the car is like the platform is set up.
But you have to give him the input, saying, "Hey, the car will not turn in this particular corner." Do you tell him that?
Yes. Yeah. We tell him how the car is performing and where we feel like we're giving up time. And also, he is a data engineer as well, so he can look at the Motec data out of the car and go, "It appears you're giving up time here." You're always making trade-offs, though. We can make it perform well in turn 1, but we're going to give it up in turn 6. Which where's the time?
Where do you want?
Where do you want the time? Because again, you can set up a car to be loose. You can set up a car to have, to be sensitive in a pushing situation. You go, well, do you want the car to rotate more? Or you want the car to rotate less? And all of those things as you adjust the pitch of the car will change how fast the car goes on a straightaway. So you've got to dial the car in kind of on the averages of all the corners that you're going to do.
It sounds to me like, your next step is IndyCar.
Well, IndyCar was at Long Beach, and I watched those guys race for 2 hours plus, and I go, man, I don't know how they do it. And then I realized they're 30 years younger than I am. That's how they do it.
Don't even go there.
Yeah,
don't even go there.
Don remembers the chariot race, first chariot race he ever watched.
You're getting chased by lions.
That's exactly. Judd's great. Loved every minute of it. And so, where do we follow you on this racing adventure of yours?
Yeah, so we're on Facebook at Loopy Tortilla Motorsports.
Loopy Tortilla Motorsports.
Yeah, so if anybody,
Mars?
Sir, I can read.
No, I know, but we need to have a link.
Oh yeah, we can definitely get you a link.
We have tacos.
Huh?
Tacos, not links.
Tacos.
Not hot links. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so anyway, I got to take a break.
Oh, go ahead. You want me to stick around? Or you want
I'll stick around.
Oh, I'll stick around.
Okay, stick around. All right. Just ahead, we're going to push the racing calendar back.
Okay.
Mars, we're going to push back your auto history to the next hour. And we're going to talk to some Judd, okay? So stay with us. InWheelTime Car Talk Show continues right after this.
You've waited all winter, and it's finally here. The Tailpipes and Tacos Spring Cruise In. It's been a while, but the popular Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In returns to the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, Saturday, April 19th. Make any donation to Shirley's Kids and get a free breakfast taco. There'll be mimosas and Bloody Marys, too. Get to the best cruise in of the year. Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, April 19th, 8 to 11 a.m. Cruise in, make a donation of any amount, and grab a free Loopy Tortilla breakfast taco. Tailpipes and Tacos only happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, 703 West Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of the Katy Freeway. Join the car camaraderie, and your car will automatically compete for one of 3 chili pepper trophies at no charge. Spring is here, and what better way to celebrate than with a free taco at Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, April 19th, 8 to 11 a.m. The InWheelTime Car Talk Show will be there too. We hope to see you then. Come on out. Be sure to follow the InWheelTime crew when we join the Hot Rod Tour of Texas beginning next Thursday evening in Victoria. InWheelTime will be there to give you a taste of the 3-day trek. Next Saturday's live 2-hour show will come to you from the Houston stop at Spindle Tap Brewery beginning at 10 a.m. You'll be able to get a feel of 300-plus cars traveling the back roads of Texas from Victoria to Madisonville. We hope you check into Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com for live updates as we take the Hot Rod Tour of Texas beginning next Thursday evening. Come join us.
Welcome back to the InWheelTime Car Talk Show. Hot Rod Tour of Texas starts Thursday. And anyway, we're going to be down there, and we'll be doing live reports on and off. And then, of course, next Saturday we'll have our live show at the Spindle Tap Brewery on the north side of town, which is when you get there, you're going to go, how in the world did they find this place? Because it's off the freeway. It's a private thing. The guy, I don't know what he does for a living, but instead of having the employees go out and go drinking, he had a brewery built there in his warehouse, and it's open to the public. You can go. So that's where everybody's going to go.
Do we get employee discounts?
Huh?
Employee discounts?
I don't know how that works, but anyway, it's a pretty cool place actually. All right, so we're talking with Judd Holt, talking about it's not SCCA racing.
Yeah, no, it's the SRO Motorsports Group, and the class is 2. It's GT America, which is the single driver race, and then there's GT4 America, which is the 2-driver racing.
You teased us about that, so talk about that. So sometimes you have a co-driver, and other times you don't. So what determines that?
The
racing body?
Yeah, the racing body, also the track. So at Long Beach, the only thing that was presented for GT4 was GT America, which is the 1 driver. There's 2 races and 1 driver has to run both races. Typically, what we'll run is what's called GT4 America, which is the 2-driver, and they're 1 hour, and each driver drives for 30 minutes. So you have a pit stop and a driver change and that whole process. So.
It's not because the driver gets tired. It's because that's part of that series.
Right. It's part of the competition is to have to do the driver change. And GT4 America is the more competitive series. So it'll have a 30 or 35.
So an hour-long race, you don't have to fuel the car, do you?
No, you don't. But they also once a year at the Circuit of Americas we run a 3-hour, and then we have to fuel the car. And then we run 45, 2 drivers still, 45 on, 45 off, 45 on, 45 off. So
when you fuel the car, how does that work? You have a can?
Yes. Yeah. They use a.
So you have a special fuel. Yep.
Yep, and we can fuel the car, and we can do a driver change in about 60 seconds. So that's about how long.
That's pretty good.
That's really it's quick.
With all the belts and everything else that you got to go through to get ready.
Yeah. And we practice that. We practice getting in and out of the car and making sure that our timing and
the door's open. Does it have a roll bar in it?
Yes, it has a full. Yeah, it has a full SFI.
So you have to climb over the bar.
Yeah, well, the bar is actually pretty low in the driver entry in our car. There are cars where the bar is kind of cross member. Ours goes through the driver cockpit in the floor.
To make it a little bit easier for you to get in.
Right. We have more on our roof to create the additional support, but it does make it a little easier to get in and out. I mean, the BMW of all the cars that are out there, it's the biggest of the cars, like just size-wise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, this obviously a Supra is a considerably smaller
platform.
platform
Let me ask
as
you
is a
this:
Porsche.
in your everyday driver, do you have a BMW somewhere in the fleet?
It's funny. We're waiting on my wife. I recently asked, who's my biggest fan and greatest supporter in racing. She travels with me for every race.
I am so sorry. Anyway,
no, she's fantastic when it comes to this crazy hobby.
Yeah.
So she has a new M4 CS convertible coming, and so it is on somewhere in the Atlantic right now, making the trip across. And so, this will be the first BMW I've ever owned that wasn't a race car. I've become a big fan, obviously, by driving and the support of BMW.
Let me tell you something. I don't get very many BMWs anymore to drive to test, but when I did, that straight 6-cylinder that they have, oh my God. That engine I am a huge straight 6 guy. That's what I grew up on. That was my first hot rod that I hot rodded, was a straight 6. A 235 Blue Flame 6, double carburetors. I did everything on the thing. And it was crazy fast and built like
a rock.
Yeah.
About the best.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And
it's a great drivetrain.
Yeah.
And most people don't realize that's the Supra. That's what's in it. The Supra, the drivetrain is a BMW drivetrain. One of we compete with. Yeah. So if
that 6-cylinder just is an amazing motor.
It is incredible. When you add the turbo to it, it takes that great drivetrain and turns it into a very spritey, torquey experience.
A rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really thrilled. What did you bring here today?
I brought my Cobra. Yeah,
darn.
Yeah, I brought my Cobra.
That silver Cobra over there?
Yeah, the silver Cobra, which,
is that a real Cobra?
No, it's a super performance. So a really good driving, reliable
motor is?
It's a 351 Windsor. Yeah, so it's the spritier of the 2 engines and runs a little cooler.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been I've had it for years, and it's been
have you really?
Really Yeah, it sits in the garage, and I try to get it out every time the sun shines.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and they're quick. I mean, it can be a handful.
It weighs nothing.
It weighs nothing, and it has a tremendous amount of horsepower. And so it's it's a lot of fun.
The little gentleman that just went by, I heard you. He wanted to know if it was an electric car.
An electric car? Oh yeah, no, yeah, the all electric.
There's a battery in it.
I think Shelby would return
From the grave.
From the grave
Yeah.
if anybody tried to put an
Absolutely.
electric motor in his car.
Well, we got a hard out. It's time.
No
but
problem.
We appreciate you.
Can
Thank
I
you.
give a quick shout out? If you want to come
Please.
out and watch us race, we'll be at COTA next weekend. At the Circuit
We'll
of
be on
Americas.
the Hot Rod Tour of Texas next weekend.
Yeah, so they can listen to you and watch me. It's going to be perfect.
I like the way he thinks.
We will be at Circuit of Americas, and then Sebring about a month later, and then
gonna
we're
be
going
back
to
at
and we're
Circuit
going to
of
Germany. So you have to have me back on after we.
Loopy
go.
Tortilla
we need to go.
Motorsports.
We need to go do a remote in Germany.
Yeah, you guys could come with me to the Nürburgring.
We'll
You wanna
do that.
Yeah.
We're ready for that.
Awesome. Thank
All
you
right.
guys for having me.
Thank you. We appreciate you, Judd Holt. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email. The address info@InWheelTime.com. Back after this.
You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning InWheelTime Car Talk Show now reaches 5.3 million folks each year. Check us out on InWheelTime.com, the Odyssey radio app, YouTube, Facebook, and just about every other entertainment source out there, including our live broadcast every Saturday, 10 to noon Central Time. The InWheelTime Car Talk Show has informative automotive guest interviews, new car reviews, along with popular features including Jeff's Car Culture, the latest new cars, cruise-ins, and racing dates. It's InWheelTime.com. Join us.